Hello and welcome to The Failure Effect, a show about reclaiming the word failure and turning it into success. This week, we're hanging out with Violette Nduku Wambua. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. We hope you're comfortable, happy to be here.
Yes, definitely. I'm
Excellent.
excited.
All right.
Yes.
So, Violet is a CEO and founder of a business called Networking in Heels. This is a networking platform for women in business, employment, in between jobs, wherever you are. If you need the company of other women while you build your networks, this is where you go.
Yes.
Now, you've been doing this for a long time, since 2010?
Yes, late 2010.
Okay.
Caught fire early 2011.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit how you started. What inspired, networking in heels? Why? Because it was groundbreaking at the time. There
Yes.
weren't many such forums.
Yeah.
So why?
First of all, there aren't any such forums. That's flowers to myself.
Yes, indeed.
So when I started off doing networking in Hills, I was running a cleaning services company with a friend. And then my work in the business was to find customers, so sales and marketing. And of course, we had the bright idea of let's go find where people are gathering. And then I can shoot them all with my business cards. Here, I do cleaning services. Here, give me business like that.
Yeah.
So I'd go into all these spaces, which were, at the time, they were, of course, mixed gender, mostly for young professionals. And I thought, I'm also a young professional. Why not? So I'd get into those spaces and try to connect with people. But I quickly found that I was leaning towards where the women were having conversations and they were having such good conversations. I'd go home inspired. I haven't given out many business cards at the time, but I've gone home with such good ideas and energies that I could put into the business that my friend and I were running.
Yep.
And then with time, I thought, every time I come to these such events, so we went to different such events. Some used to be at KICC event, I think at Tintin restaurant back then. I noticed that every time I spoke now in this, when we have breakout sessions, I'd go where, where the chicks are and they're talking different things. And I'm like, I kind of want this grouping separately because I was not too keen on the big energies that the guys had at the time. And not that it's a bad thing, but I felt this is quieter and more calmer for myself. And I'm going home feeling like I've tapped into something. So I said, why not gather these women together somewhere? And yes, I'm coming to them as a person who runs a cleaning services business, but I'm also learning from them and I'm getting mentored, I'm getting encouraged. Why not have a group for that? So I looked around and I couldn't find such for women only, and especially women from different careers. What I found was women in different, say women doctors, women in, women in media, women in it was different silos.
Right.
But there was never one, agnostic, like background agnostic space. So I thought, why not? And at the time, I didn't know anything about anything to do with events. I didn't know about how to get people together in a room. I think we still had those Yahoo groups back then. I don't know. Are you that old to remember Yahoo groups? Those mailing lists.
Yes.
That's what we had. And a few online spaces that were starting out. Those are the days of Kina High Five.
Yeah.
Yes. So I thought, now how do I get these people together? But I got a few nudgings here and there. Look, just try. Oh well is better than what if.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, fine. Let me do something. Let me try and get people together. But I also needed to find them, to put them in a hotel, maybe so they can eat as we are talking, something comfortable. And so I did something in late 2010. Oh, it was a flop. Oof,
Oh, no.
the flop.
Okay.
But it's not the flop of the century, but it was a flop.
What happened?
Because I didn't know anything about events. I didn't know, like, you need to talk to, the owner of the space. Let's say the hotel, for example, tell them we are coming and maybe it's 30 people. So I'm just thinking, I'll tell people we'll meet at this place.
Yeah.
Come 30 of you. They're like, akwendangi hivo, you have to plan in advance. And even then people didn't even, I think only 3 people showed up and then they were not sure what's going on. So, I mean, they went to the bar to have a drink and I can't blame them.
Yeah.
Because there was no order. What are we doing? So I went back to drawing board. And then I humbly did a Google search.
Okay.
how to plan an event.
Right. Wait, but at this point, had you already named it Networking in Heels,
No,
or it was
not
just a
at
collection?
all. It was
Okay.
just like these women in different careers. Because I was also excited about the women who are working in UNICEF, in where,
Yeah.
and also the women who are running, their own. There's someone who was doing branding for school uniforms. I thought, wow, I thought only say school outfitters do that. I didn't
Yeah.
know people can do this as a business, so I was really fascinated. Others were distributing transformers to Kenya Power. I'm like, hey,
Wow.
people are doing amazing things. I want to be in these spaces. I might as well get an epiphany of a century. You know how
Yeah.
it is. So I went back and did a Google search, how to plan an event. And I spoke to a few event planners. But then back then, the event planners were more focused on weddings
Yeah.
and big launches
Yeah.
for big brands. So there was not so much information on what I was trying to do.
Okay.
But I put bits and pieces together here and there. And then also spoke to my friends and I spoke to my family members. And they're like, okay, we'll tell people where it's happening and then they can come. And I remember in May 2011, I just along Lerana Road.
Yeah.
So I hosted 50 people.
Wow.
To the first ever networking in Hills. And I felt, yes,
Yeah.
there's something here. And what encouraged me most is the fact that 40 out of the 50 were total strangers. It's people who had never met,
Yeah.
had never seen. They just heard that this thing is happening and they came. And back then also, Facebook was literally free.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'd made a very shady poster, but it travels.
Yeah.
I did a digital footprint and people said, oh, what is this? We're coming. And they paid and they came and we had a good time. I remember getting two friends of mine, they were the speakers.
Yeah.
And I thought they're serious enough. One was a lawyer.
Yeah.
She's now a professor somewhere in Oxford.
Wow.
Yeah. Hi, Daisy. And it was really wonderful. And I thought, why not? And when I went home, so the next week was more of, hi, Violette, we had a good time. I learned this and the other. When is the next one? Is the next one? And I thought, wow, there's something here. And, I remember also, just to take you back a little bit, I didn't know that people get sponsored for events. I didn't know that people get partners for events.
Yeah.
I remember Cortex coming through. And so the women who came for that first event went home with Cortex
Yeah.
pads and tampons.
Yeah.
And, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. But
Yeah.
I didn't think too much about it because, again, very naive, very green. I didn't know. So I had a lot of homework to do. And then I'm still running the cleaning services business because that's what I'm here. I'm also going to promote that because
Yeah.
it's the reason why I'm here also. But I started notice that it might end up suffering.
Okay.
But I didn't pay too much thought about it at the time. So maybe I should have, but I didn't at the time.
Okay.
And then come August, we did another event. Come November, we did another event. And,
Wow.
and the growth was amazing.
Yeah.
More and more partners are coming on board. Good FMCG companies, strong FMCG brands are coming on board. And this good response and good reaction. And now I knew I can't continue with the cleaning services business.
Right.
I should have though.
Okay.
There's money in there.
Right.
But I was young, I was 26.
Yes.
Yeah. So I didn't have the wherewithal to actually think strategically. Thank God now, what do you say now? Hindsight is 2020?
Yeah.
At the time I didn't have that.
Okay. Okay.
But yes, so it was very exciting to see that first year, 2011. It was a very good year in terms of growth, but it was a very bad year also because a lot of the money I made at the events literally went back into the events. So I'm having this shiny brand, but I'm broke.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Because I didn't know that, hey, you're paying all this, I pay yourself.
Yes.
I didn't have all that information. And obviously now I'm also suffering tension with my business partner.
Yeah.
Because like when Yaji, clients for the cleaning services company,
Yeah.
you're not really...
Yeah. You're not focused. You're not bringing them in. Yeah.
So it was, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So everything is going well, and then suddenly Networking in Heels went silent.
Oh, yeah. So, wow.
What happened?
Everything was not going very well.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay.
Networking in Hills, by and large, did well. So the first 7 years of its life did well. The brand grew. We took the events to Mombasa, to Kisumu.
Yeah.
We had high-ranking politicians coming to speak at our events and government officials. We had high-ranking women in corporate and even in industrial sector coming to speak. We had very good sponsors coming on board. We had such support, honestly. But because I was largely working, like flying solo, I didn't have the benefit of complementary energies, because I'd have people coming in, we work together for a while, and then they go away for different reasons. I don't blame anyone. Actually, it's not even a lamentation. It's just the situation how it is. So everything was basically on me. And, I'm the author and finisher.
Yeah.
And I also don't have like a peer review. I also don't have guidance, because even the times when I'd reach out for guidance in terms of mentorship, etc., it will be more of you can tell that, this person, yes, they're giving you advice, but it's only up to a certain level.
Right.
And I know that no one should chew things for you. You should be able to do things by yourself. But when you're not getting that objective advice, you realize I'm implementing things I already know.
Yeah.
I kind of want a different view, a different angle. And so I sort of have to make peace with myself that, okay, no one can do this better than me.
Yeah.
I really have to dig in deeper. But I did get exhausted. And also just, I didn't have structures at the time, I must say.
Okay.
So just poor structures, poor governance, just lack of proper strategy, because the strategy kept on changing. It's just a lot of things that I lacked that are a benefit of, say, SMEs where there's proper structure and like a proper team where everybody knows this is what they're supposed to be doing and to what end. And like nothing, because a lot of things were fluid for me. So I was a constant factor, but everything around me was fluid.
Yeah.
So it was a bit frustrating in that sense. So yes, I did make money, but also did lose a lot of money in the process. You get an accountant, the accountant's like, hey, I got a job somewhere else. I'm not going to be available for you.
Oh.
And there's, so now gosh, my math. So and then, you get someone, they're really working for you, but then they get poached by some big company and you can't even match what they're being offered, and you have to let them go. Yet they've worked with you and that has been their training ground, literally. So, I mean, it's not a complaint, it's just a spotlight on what really happened. And I noticed I was getting fatigued.
Okay.
I noticed I was also losing my juice in terms of creativity.
Okay.
I was even started to feel like I'm resenting the very thing that I started.
Yeah.
And I had never known that feeling before. I had known fatigue, I'd known exhaustion, I'd known, financial constraints and being broke. I'd known having a lot of money in the account.
Yeah.
I'd known the excitement of being splashed all over on all media. And, it's fantastic. The celebrity, the notoriety. It was great. But then now, at the end of the day, I'm going home to myself. I don't even have a cat to talk to.
Right. I'm sure that has changed by now, but we'll get there.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But so you're getting home and you're trying to go through all the notes, what happened, what could have happened. But again, I don't have the benefit of a complementary voice to show me, hey, I know you see the glass from this side, but did you see, can you also look at it on this other side? So if I'm optimistic that day and maybe I'm wrong, I'll go with my optimist vibe. If I'm pessimistic that day and maybe I'm actually wrong, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
So my business was affected by even my own person. And I'm growing at this time. This is now a few years in.
Yeah.
I'm now in my, I've hit 30 and I'm having all these expectations for myself. I'm looking around. My friends are driving nice cars. I don't have a car yet. My friends are talking mortgages. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
I'm literally in a studio,
Yes.
My friends are talking babies, marriage. So life is lifing. And I'm like, wait, what's going on with my life?
Yeah.
And because I'm getting in the dumps of that, then it affects my output in my business. It affects even me being able to show up. I mean, I missed a few speaking engagements that were paid.
Oh.
Like the hell?
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, you're in your feelings and you don't have the person, like, you kind of feel like you need to be your own mom or own prefect.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay even if you're feeling that way. Let's go. Let's go. Let's come back, cry when we're whipping ourselves with money. You know? So I didn't, there are a lot of things that I didn't do because then I didn't have that other nudging voice or that nudging force around me to like, hey, feel bad, but we're feeling bad as we're moving on. But I did try my best. I did give it my best shot. But then now towards the end of 2016, I was heavily in the family way. I was heavily pregnant.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, let me just do this one last event. And then, when the baby's born, I can give it a few months. And then I come back to this. Where?
Oh, okay. What happened?
So my baby is born. That's January of 2017. And I'm like, okay, cool. No, that's done. So I'm still thinking about networking in heels. I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm feeling, this is fresh and everything. But then I'm like, no, let me give this baby a few months. Maybe he can sit down and then I can,
Yeah.
And then shortly, it's a year. And you've not done anything. I've not done anything. And I'm like, wow. Now it's starting to eat at me. I'm worried.
Right.
Like a whole year has passed and I haven't done anything for and with the brand.
What were you doing for income though?
So at the time, I got the bright idea to get a job. I mean, via my experience, I've gained a lot of knowledge and skills that are sellable. I went to school. So let me do that. Let me get a job. It makes sense to anybody. So get a job and then keep yourself within the industry so that you're not forgotten. But I didn't know that's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Okay.
But I'm thinking, okay, salary is good. I mean, diapers are here.
Yes.
I'm able to, do a few things here and there. But you see, I'm not working on my brand because I thought that, no, at least when I have Jobo, I can finance the things that I want to do for the brand. That was not happening.
Okay.
And also, I don't think I was mentally prepared for the toll that it does take on you when you're raising a child,
Exactly.
Yes.
That's a lot on your plate.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
But I didn't anticipate how much it would be.
Yeah.
And yet I could easily say that I had an easy baby. My baby didn't give me problems, but I was so emotionally involved. I was so mentally involved. I was so physically involved that even the absence from my child, I used to feel it. I used to feel like, I need to go home and see my child.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a bit of a madness.
Yeah. Did you have a partner though?
Yes, I did. Thank God.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not like I was raising the baby alone, or I'm raising a baby. I have all the help. I have a wonderful partner, etc., etc. But I still feel like, it can only be me.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have stepped back just a little.
Okay.
That would have given me room to see. This kid is growing.
Yeah.
And they're not stopping. So maybe I should also be growing other things and keeping them in motion. But that's not what happened at the time. So I said, okay, fine, let him get to a year. And then he go to a year. Oh, let me get to 2 years. He go to 2 years. Where you have done nothing for the brand. Okay. And now, remember by the time I was taking the break because I was about to give birth, I was also starting to feel like dry, mentally dry. Because every time I think about it, what do I want to do with the brand? This is dry. So none of that, I was throwing ideas to the wall and none was sticking. And I'm like, I can't be doing the same thing over and over again. I did well. They were very well received. But I also knew that it has to grow. It has to evolve. And I was putting so much pressure on myself. I think I even chewed a mental lock.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to networking in heels. And I didn't necessarily share this with anyone.
Yeah.
So everybody who saw me thought, she's doing amazing.
Yeah.
And it's true, I was doing amazing, but I was struggling because I'm like, sustainability, longevity.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. It was very dark in my mind when it came to the brand. Like, what am I going to do? Like, even 3 months from now, 4 months from now, I was so uncertain. But so when I took the break, it wasn't meant to be a long break.
Okay.
It wasn't meant to be a long break, guys, I promise. It was meant to be 6 months.
Yeah.
And then it went into a year, it went to 2. And then by the time my kid was about 3 years now, I said, no, Violet, please, you have to do something. And so now I'm even waking myself up and, like, it's too long, and I actually did put an event together.
Okay.
So from January of 2020, I really got back. I dusted my proposals. I woke up my socials, and I refreshed my database of people, etc, etc. My
Yeah.
mailing list now was back, and I really was feeling the energy. I was very excited, and I'm really doing much and reaching out. And I remember I'd even planned an event, a Women's Day event, but because now we're no longer just doing Women's Day, we're doing Women's Month. So I was like, you know what? Let's close out the month. March 31st, 2020, we're doing an event.
Oh my gosh.
And I went and got a speaker.
Yeah.
I got brands to support me.
Yeah.
And even at the time I was thinking, because I've also not been around for a while, I kind of want to do this a bit different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put out an RSVP. So for the first 100 people, it's free.
Okay.
Like I was,
Yeah.
because also I was fortunate. Let me
Yeah.
just use the word fortune. I know fortune and business don't really go together, but let me use the word fortunate. So I was fortunate enough to get sponsorship enough for me to say, I'm going to do for the first 100 people free.
Yeah.
Because I've not been around for a while. So karibu sana,
Yeah.
come back to Networking in Hills. And that was ready, that was set. And my money has come into the account.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yes, it's happening. When all the ducks are in a row,
Yes. And then
I was excited. I'm like, yes, I'm back where I belong.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Can I take a sip of water?
Of course, of course.
You guys will cut that.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, so when your ducks are in a row,
Yeah.
and then so marketing, publicity is happening, etc. And then come, I think March 13th or 17th.
It
one
was
of
the
two.
13th.
And then the president just shuts down the country.
Yes.
So we're in limbo. The president has shut down the country. We can't do anything. Can't even meet your mom.
Yes. Yes.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And then now, of course, that means all events are shut. So I remember I had to return some money.
Yeah.
I had to return,
Yeah.
some money that I hadn't spent. And any checks that I hadn't cashed, I just,
Yeah.
And that was it. So back to the drawing board, but also then back to the drawing board in a very uncertain way because I didn't know how to proceed. So what do you do? I'm used to physical events.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about webinars. I don't know anything about gathering people in a virtual space.
Yeah.
And like for a lot of us, that time of COVID-19 lockdowns was hard. If I may mention, also at the time, I was also working. I had now moved to another job and I was doing well. So even for me to say, we can do the first 100 people free, I had a salary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and a good one at that. So, a few months down the line, that job is also gone because now the company is like, we're not sure. We want to sustain operations. A lot of companies did shut down.
Yeah.
And people are affected. And I was one of them.
Okay.
So now this is not happening. My job is also not happening. So I really, it was tough mentally.
Yeah.
And, also being locked in at home, husband and child, and you're having to do everything for yourself, no help, like that, because we really didn't have a lot of movement. It did take a toll.
Okay.
And also shut down, I was excited yet envious for people who, that's the time they're creative, they're creating things, they're growing, their brands are popping. And I'm like, wow, I can't seem to move. Like the cogs in my brain are not, the wheels are not moving at all. And you guys seem to be thriving in COVID, you know? And you try to do what other people are doing, but it's not your thing. The gig is not gigging. And it was just insane. And so Networking in Hills again, that's enough. Now the 4th year now we're going to a limbo and a quiet place and nothing is going on. And now people, we get into, I think we opened up 2021, if I'm not wrong.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And then people are starting now to do events again.
Yeah, but there are restrictions on numbers. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. But still, maybe I should have done at the time.
Okay.
And so I was kicking myself like, why can't I do something? But I'm like, people want to go to the events that they have been seeing happening and feel like they can trust those instead of one that is relaunching during this time. So I was really, really second guessing myself, and that really sucks.
Okay.
Because then, who's to say anything is right or wrong, except when it's tried and tested.
True.
I can say that now. But during the time, I was like, everything is just second guessing. And I think at the time, even my second name was second guessing.
Okay.
I second guessed everything, even just making a cup of uji, which is so easy. I was second guessing small recipes. I was just in a bad space mentally. And remember this time, like I said before, I don't have the benefit of another voice that is invested in what I'm doing. My husband is there and he's very supportive. But guess what? He's invested in providing for his family. He's invested in also staying afloat.
Yes.
Keeping his own head above the water.
Yeah.
Despite everything that's happening. I mean, they've also been affected at their job.
Yeah.
The stress of pay cuts, etc.
Yeah.
Yes. The stress of, are we making rent? What are we doing? So then it kind of feels like my problem is acute problem or a luxury problem.
Yes. A first world problem.
Rather than a basic problem,
Yeah.
And I think it's the way they say, Kim, people are dying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're worried about your
Your
thing,
event,
yeah. So, I kind of shut that down for myself so I could also cope.
Yeah.
And then come the end of that year, now we're starting to open up now. People are starting to come home. I think we had flights, more people coming back home to Kenya who hadn't been to the country for over a year. And, guys are like, hey, by the way, you used to do networking in Hills. Kwani, what happened?
Right.
And you start to see stars.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what to tell people.
Yeah.
And they're like, aya, when you lolo dem networking in Hills? Aya, you kitulienda wapi?
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. I'm having a mental breakdown, And it's not even malicious questions. It's just that they're so pointed.
Yeah.
And there's no one else to pass that to. There's no one else to speak for me. It's me. I have to answer the question.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I either forget this thing totally or give it another go.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to do. And when I go back to my notes and my files, I'm not seeing anything different, anything new. I'm not able to breathe new energy into my brand that I created. I'm even now getting irritated by the mere mention of it.
Yeah.
I went and muted my own pages.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because I don't want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a version of, that maybe that outfit you like and now you can no longer stand it, but it's really good. And you just put it in the back of your wardrobe and hope that you never ever see it again. I think that's what happened with me.
Okay.
And I'm like, no, I'm not going to, let me just say it was the fantasy of my youth. I did this thing when I was 26, 27, 28, those days. And now it's time for a new thing. I'm like, Violet, you can dream new dreams. So because I was trying to win myself.
Yeah.
And also so I can cope. So even when people mention networking in Hills, then I'm not angry.
Yeah.
I remember I got angry when I'd see people who I know starting to do similar events.
Right.
And I'm like, that's literally jacking off my idea.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, yes, that's valid to say, but I'm not doing it. So why not them?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I'm not doing it. Why am I getting mad? Am I being a dog in a manger? So
Yeah.
I'd have all these conversations with myself. And, well, I did have a few therapy sessions.
Okay.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yeah. But it was difficult. And, just expressing the pain of starting something and it's taking a pause for not necessarily planned, but then it never rising again.
Yeah.
And it becoming a thing of, I almost got to a point where if somebody asked me about networking in Hills, I'd feel like they're mocking me. And maybe they're not.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just, it's just a question. And many times I'd be like, so many brands have come and gone and maybe mine is one of them.
Okay.
And that hurts because it's mine.
Yeah.
It's not just any other brand.
Yeah.
It's not any other event. It's not any other person's business. It's my business. It's personal. So, you'd hear things like, hey, and that brand fell off. And that would come from like a stranger.
Yeah.
Like I walked into a few conversations in different places. Like, oh yeah, networking in heels, hey, it fell off. And the person doesn't know that you're the one who was behind it.
Yeah.
And for them, they're not even making a malicious statement. It's just...
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just like, am I a has-been now? Am I washed up? Am I, so it did do a thing or two to me that was not good. And I didn't have a place to express or even let out this frustration without sounding like I'm being entitled to people's support, people's love, or people's energies.
Right.
Because it can get to that point where you feel like, why are you not paying me attention? And yet, life is lifing.
Yes.
People are doing their own things. I did get a bit resentful, not a bit, a lot resentful when people would ask me, even my own brother. So I have one brother I have two brothers, and one brother is constantly asking me, hey, now, so he won't ask me directly.
Yeah.
He'll be like, hey, I met a friend of mine and they're asking me, by the way, Connie, where did networking in heels go?
Yeah.
And I'd take a moment because I know it's coming from a place of love. But at the same time, I'm like, God, guys, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could give you a sneak peek into my brain. I don't like it anymore. I don't like the idea. I feel like it's, I don't know what to do. And then I'd also I'd go back into conversations that I had with people back when it was a thriving space. I remember someone who at the time was working at Microsoft said, why don't you just sell this thing? Just sell it. People sell things and, they profit off of them. But for me, I'm like, no, but I love it. I kind of want to grow with it.
Yeah.
And so I kick myself for, what if he was onto something and maybe I should have pursued him for that conversation and maybe I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
So then I'd be free to dream another dream because I already did that and sold that off.
Yeah.
Then maybe I could have been a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then I'd go like, and you see now I even let the cleaning business go. Now I don't have, you kind of feel like you don't have anything.
Yes.
And that hurts, because you're like, I don't have a job. None of the business that I've ever started are here with me now. So what am I? Who am I really? What am I doing? What's my contribution to the world? How am I making a difference? Am I just taking up space? And then, of course, now, my mind now would go and go and go. And that's why I did have to talk to someone.
Okay.
I did have to seek help because it was not good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was hard. Yeah. So I spoke to someone and I thank God it was online therapy. It was online sessions. So I didn't have to go and have ugly breakdowns with them.
Yeah.
So I'd just be there with my earphones in my bedroom and we have our 3 to 4 p.m. session. And, I was helped to see that, you're more than the contributions you're making.
Yeah.
Failure does hurt and let it hurt.
Okay.
Sit with it. Let it hurt you. Think about what you want to do. Think about how, we are blessed as human beings in the sense that we're able to pivot. And this chick just said, this lady just said, when a cat is born, a cat, it can only be a cat.
Yeah.
As a human being, you can be whatever you want to be in terms of your vocation, in terms of your activities. You can be a radio presenter today. Tomorrow you're a pilot. People change lanes all the time and they are successful. We've had all these athletes who one time they're doing football and now they are thriving in golf.
Yes.
And it's okay, and we can never say that they are a has-been or a football star of yesteryear. They're still a football star and that's rightfully theirs. But now they're doing golf and it's okay. It's still rightfully theirs. So that kind of sort of calmed me down and I just got to reevaluate how I view myself. Because then I was also pressed by the culture. Because the culture is, what are you doing where you are? So if you're a chick who wears black, if you dare wear yellow, black fell off. It's like we're not really encouraged to change or take breaks or whatever. It's supposed to be on and on. And I also know that we are a choleric society. You literally are a human doing. You're not a human being.
Yeah.
You're a human doing. What are you doing? Because I ask you, so what are you doing nowadays? What are you doing? What are you doing? And like, how are you? how is your state of being?
Yes.
We hardly ask people
a
about
good
their state of
point.
being. It's
Yeah.
all about your state of doing.
Yeah.
Eh.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
Actually.
And when you're fed that for all these 30 years of your life plus, it can be difficult
Yes.
to relate with yourself when there's nothing when it looks like you're doing nothing. And really, I was not doing nothing. I was doing a lot.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
if I were to be honest, I was doing a lot. But because of maybe it's not shiny enough to be seen,
Yeah.
I'm doing nothing.
Okay.
You know, it's not on the papers. I'm doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's not on whatever YouTube channel. I'm doing nothing. So I really thank God I got that help.
Okay.
Just to see myself differently.
Yeah.
And I think everybody who goes through failure in one way or another really should speak to someone.
Yeah.
Therapy is a good idea.
Yes.
And it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And, it doesn't need to be a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
Just go in that moment of crisis and, get someone to walk you through your brain. Because, your brain can trick you into thinking that you're done for, let's end it all, what am I here for, etc., etc. So I went into 2022, 2021, I got my daughter. So now I remember I already got a boy.
Yes.
Now I have a girl. I'm so excited about that. But I'm thinking, what I do. But at the end of the year, that year, I was like, you know what? I actually like nice things in houses. When I go to people's houses, I notice the utensils.
Yes.
I noticed there are two things. And I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe that's a space I can get into.
Yeah.
I remember just mentioning it, and my mother-in-law encouraged me to get into it. So I started a business,
Okay.
a cookware business. So I sell a lot of nice kitchen items,
that's excellent.
yeah, nice household items. And, for some reason, it took off.
Yeah.
And people were like, hey, I see you're selling this. I want this. I'm like, oh, wow, you guys. So the orders
Yeah.
are coming in and it's exciting. I'm like, oh, maybe this is what I needed to do. And now I'm putting energy into that because one thing about me, I put energy into what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I put in a lot of energy into that.
Yeah.
And it was exciting. And that was like literally 2021 towards the end and 2022 also. And also last year. And I thought maybe this is what I need to be doing. By the way, I feel settled in here. I like sourcing nice things for people and delivering and just seeing the, even the reviews, the smiles on their faces, pictures of their houses after that. I'm like, maybe I was just stressing myself with that other thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe let's just move on. Those are just dreams of my youth. Move on.
But yet you didn't because it came back.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's that one that refused to be shut down.
Yes.
So I remember last year, this must have been like July of last year. So let me just go back a little bit. I remember one time we were with my husband and a few other friends, and somebody's wife came and said, like, so in a group, and again, I'm very prickly about networking in heels at the time. And I think yes. So it's like, hey, and by the way, so what are you going to do? I see you doing this and it's nice, but so what about networking in heels? When are you going to bring it back? And then for once, somebody spoke for me. My husband said, I think Violet is still on a break with networking in heels, but I know when it does come back and when she decides to do it again, I know she'll put in such good energy.
Yeah.
It'll just be a banger. And I was very comfortable with that statement.
Okay.
So it wasn't, it's the end.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, it's happening now. So that statement just went somewhere at the back of my head, and that was it. And so everybody seemed to now to move on from our conversation, and we continued. So I remember last year, July, Sunday afternoon, and we're trying to take the kids somewhere to have a good time. And then I got, it sounds very weird, but it's what happened. I got an impression. In fact, I felt like somebody was talking to me.
Okay.
Like they're just next to me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, why don't you do networking in heels in December? I'm like, hey, that's a bit too. It's too. It was
too soon.
Not even too soon. It's too direct. It's too pointed. It's too. Wow, this is an instruction, literally.
Right.
And I wasn't sure what I'd had. So my husband is there looking at memes. I'm like, hey, umesema nini? He's like, no, I'm just here. I'm just looking at, are you ready? We can go. I'm like, I thought you spoke to me. He's like, no. I didn't say anything.
The voice was
I'm
that.
I'm not rushing you. He thought, so from
Yeah.
him, it's thinking, maybe, are you rushing me? We go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I had something. I thought you said something. Then it's like, so what did you hear? I'm like, I had let's do networking in Hills in December. He's like, oh. Then he says, okay, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, dude, no, I was just telling you what happened. Don't jump in. And I tried to shut down what I'd had. I thought maybe I'm just having, what do you call it, this brain bursts, but it wouldn't go away. And I'm like, dude, I can't, I don't want to have my heart broken and my character developed again. I've gone through this, I've gone through therapy, I've gone through a replacement, sort of, because now I'm running Cookware by Bo.
Yes.
That's my replacement.
Yes.
Please don't take me back to there and then it backfires and then I'm back again to the ash. I can't deal, And so I'd have this back and forth with myself in my mind. But at the same time, I just used to feel like it's almost like heartburn, so to speak.
Yes.
I think those who know.
Yeah.
And so I started to write down notes on like, okay, fine, if I was to do this, just assume I was to do this, what would it look like? And I started to write it down. And I'm like, and why would I even do it anyway? Why am I even bringing back the event? Is it an ego trip to confirm that I'm still here, I never fell off, I'm not washed out?
Yeah.
So I had to have those conversations with myself. And even now I invited other people into the conversation. I mean, I spoke to people who used to come to the events like way back, a few people. And I'm like, what do you think about this? Like, oh my God, yes, please. We've been waiting forever. This is such it's a much needed space. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I really had to confirm that I'm not doing it to prove a point. Because now when you're trying to prove a point, you'll forever be proving a point.
Yes.
There's a point to prove to you.
Yes.
A point to prove to Doris. You prove to everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't want performance.
Yeah.
I didn't want anything performative. I wanted it to just be authentic and impactful. That's what I wanted. But I was not sure. But still, the urge wouldn't go away. So I surrendered. Let me use the word surrender.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I was like, okay, fine. Let's do this. And I had to start cleaning up my database. And it was not looking good
Okay.
because I had your email address from your days at your former employer.
Yes.
That's bouncing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so where do I find this person?
Yeah.
They've moved on, clearly.
Yeah.
And it was not just one email address. It's
Yeah.
almost 1,000.
Right.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's almost 1,000 email addresses and contacts numbers. People have even left the country. Sadly, others are not even here with us anymore. Like, it's been 7 years.
Yeah.
So that's 7 years of a quiet space, an inactive space. People have moved on. I'm not sure if this is what they even want anymore. But I'm also sure that for me to do the event, I'm not trying to prove a point to anyone. And I've confirmed with myself that it's not a navel gazing activity.
Right.
So this is, I decided now to decenter myself because all the pain I was going through was me centering myself. So when I decentered myself and I'm like, who am I doing it for? Why am I doing it? What do I hope that they achieve from it? Then it became a bit easy to just let go and be guided accordingly in terms of the steps to take. Yeah, so I remember I also did accept to look a bit stupid.
Okay.
Because when you fail or when you seem to have failed and you are trying, society also doesn't quite reward or, they're not excited that you're trying.
Yeah.
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 We kind of like it when you've done it and you've won the race and we'll be excited for you. But when you're just trying, like, why? Unajaribu nini?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
this is true.
weird. Why don't we encourage trying though?
I don't know. Yeah.
So I also just put myself out there. I spoke to a few people, few professionals that I'd met along the days of networking in Hills. And I'm like, hey, I want to do this again. And then I definitely would need help. I need input. I need support in this and this way. And I had to be clear on what I wanted and what I needed to achieve. And yeah. And then I was like, I also was very much aware that this is my it was my instruction. And I couldn't pass it off to say where you are.
Yeah.
Just because I told you, hey, I'm doing this thing in December and expect you to pick it up and run with it.
Yes. Yeah.
I had to do the work.
Okay.
So I rolled up my sleeves and I started to do the work. And I put my first save the date poster. I don't know if you're going to show the people. It was very shady.
Okay. You did it yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll show you.
Okay.
Very shady. But I was like, you know what? It's okay. Let it go out there. Let it be known that something is happening. And, from that, I got very good responses. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is good. Let's continue.
Yeah.
And of course, my database now, I'm trying to clean it up. It's bad. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this thing afresh in the sense that everybody now who comes, I'm taking it as though I've never met them, even if I have. So then I can start a clean database and not necessarily spam people because they used to come.
Yeah.
So it was hard work. I must say I worked long hours.
Okay.
I must say I spent a lot of time even just fighting my own pride. I'm like, kwa nini must? You know, I'm like, why am I going around with, okay, first of all, my proposal documents. Oh God. This is graphics from, we're in AI now. We're in AI. Have you seen people's decks?
Yes.
People's decks look amazing.
Yeah.
Me, I'm there with a deck from 2015.
Okay. Yeah.
Gosh, it's terrible.
Yeah. Well.
So I had to work on that deck so it can look a bit presentable and it's still not working. So I called somebody, hi, I know you're a designer, please help me with this deck. And I sent it and they're like, ini mwaka gani? I'm like, please just do your thing. So it's a humbling thing of going back again to the thing that hurt you, where you got hurt literally, and cleaning up house. My website, I don't even have a bank account. So even if you want to send me money, where am I putting it? I don't even have a pay bill or an M-Pesa, whatever. It was just a lot of things that I'd let go. And so if I can use the word, I had to inspect the walls, literally.
Yeah.
Just to see where the gaps are. And there were many. So it was a lot of work, I must say. So put together a website, refresh the socials, start having conversations on the socials. So I'm also being content creator, I'm being social media manager, I'm being community manager. I'm doing,
Yeah.
It's
a lot of work. Yeah. Plus the cookware on top.
And I'm still selling the cookware, thank God. But and now I'm a mom of 2.
Yes. Yes.
And a wife for 1. I'm running a household. Hey, so it's a lot. But I knew that I needed to do it so that also I can stop having I was having now almost panic attacks. What if I don't do it? What's going to happen? And I was just being led by, you have to do it. And I remember even thinking, what am I even going to wear?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even have a dress to wear. What do I want to look like? Even picking a venue, I checked out so many venues. And I'm like, is this even good enough? And I was really, really second-guessing myself, but I had to keep on reminding myself that every time I second-guess myself, I make a mistake. So the first idea that comes, that's what I'm working with. I make sure it's not good enough before I throw it away. Yeah. It's crazy coming back from that dark spot of let me use the word failure. I hate that word though.
Yes.
It's not very sexy.
Yeah.
So it's crazy coming back down from the ashes and the falling apart and trying to rebuild. Because rebuilding gives, I don't know, I felt very insecure when I was rebuilding, I must say. I felt very unsure and even inadequate.
Yeah.
Because when I look around, you don't even have to throw too many stones. Just one stone and you're hitting 5 women's networking events.
Right.
Throw one stone. Okay. I dare you.
Okay.
I dare you.
Yeah.
So the space has been taken up.
Yeah.
And I'm worried, is my brand even relevant for what I'm doing? But, I got so many confirmations that I'm doing the right thing. Even from point of picking a venue, confirmation that, okay, this is good. The speakers, and even just getting brands to stand with me.
Yeah.
and saying, they're not giving me a lot, but they're standing with me.
Yes.
And that brand alignment, brand association, it's a big deal.
That's true.
Yeah, because not everyone is willing to lend you their brand.
Okay. So you then went ahead and you had a successful event in December?
Yes.
Okay. Good work. Good work.
It felt like, how do I put it? It felt like that final push.
Yeah.
Like now you're giving birth, now push.
Yes.
And it felt like
Yeah.
everything went well. I
Yeah.
must say, Networking in Hills, December 14th, the relaunch.
Yes.
It was fantastic. The turnout.
Yes.
I had so much stress. The event was on a Thursday. And the Thursday before, I had so much stress because I've told the event, the venue that I think I'll have like 100 people coming in. And the Friday before, I only have 29 people who've paid.
Okay. Oh. Whoa. But Kenyans, but we rock up last minute.
I know. But you know how stressful it is.
I know.
And I'm like, if these 29 people come, the hotel will still want the deficits, the top up.
Yeah.
And I can assure you, I prayed all sorts of prayers. I prayed in Kikamba, in Kikuyu, in English, in French, in Kiswahili.
Yes.
I prayed facing all the corners I would face. But the event was fantastic. The room in total had 125 people.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So you overshot your budgeted number.
I did. And the sponsors came through like with their, when you see those banners, know it's happening. The lights, it's happening. When the DJ is setting up, you're like, wow, it's happening. And when the makeup artist came to do my makeup, I'm like, oh, gosh, it's happening.
Yeah.
And then the last minute people checked in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, the room is full.
Yeah.
So the hotel has to go and get extra tables and extra seats for them. And the speakers really delivered. Like they really, really delivered. The social media buzz was amazing.
Yes.
The media buzz, the mainstream media buzz was amazing. And the reviews also amazing. And I went home so exhausted, yet so happy that it's done.
It is.
It is done.
Yeah.
It is done. And even best that I did not owe anybody.
Excellent. This is good. This is good. So now that you're back in swing, are you planning another one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you have a date for that?
Yes. So March 8th,
Okay.
Women's Day.
Okay.
Please, dear President, don't shut down the country.
Yes.
Do not shut down. So March 8th,
Yeah.
we're doing a Women's Day breakfast event. So this will be different from the usual evening events. So I want to do it as a breakfast event. I hope you'll be there.
Yes. Yes.
I hope you're an early riser.
Well,
You'll
we
try.
shall do it
So
specifically
March
for
8th,
this. Yeah.
March 8th, that's set. The venue is yet to be confirmed. I would have loved to say the venue.
Right.
But I'll definitely, as long as people are following on my socials, Networking in Heels, on all socials, the details will be shared there.
Okay.
And then, if there's anything else I need to tell you, before then, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay.
But I feel like this is so good for me to come back from a point of darkness.
Yes.
And just to feel like all the pain I felt
Yeah.
has sort of been soothed by this happening.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to be back in this space, and I intend to stay here for a long time. I'd love for I envision for Networking in Hills to a place of comfort, a place of connection, a place of learning, a place of community, and a place of growth.
Yeah.
For women to grow in different ways, to grow socially, grow professionally, grow in terms of their businesses, grow in terms of their aspirations, even just grow in terms of in their own personal, characters.
Yeah.
Just grow in that sense at Networking Hills or via Networking in Hills. And also just a launch pad for whatever dreams you've had and, you've done them and failed.
Yeah.
Let it be a launch pad that you can do it again.
Yeah.
And, there's people to support you and people to hold your hands. It might not be easy, but it can be done.
It can be done. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
And ladies, for those of you who would like to attend, please feel free to utilize the email addresses, the contact details that you see on screen in front of you. Now, final question.
Yeah.
In one sentence.
Yes.
If you could recap everything that you have learned and crystallize it into a lesson, what would you say?
One.
Okay, maybe two.
I'd say you are the expert of your craft. You really are the expert. No one can do it like you do it. No one can do it better than you can do it.
Right.
So just trust in yourself. And when the going gets tough and when it gets dark, remember that you're here for a reason and not give up. Just don't give up. Never give up, and love yourself a bit more and lend yourself grace.
Yeah.
I know I should have lent myself grace, but now I plan to continue lending myself grace and also extending it to others.
Okay.
Yeah, because in the grace is where you have the room to grow and explore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Violette Nduku Wambua, thank you so much for your time and for
Thank
being
you.
so open with your story. Yeah, we wish you all the best, and
Thank
we will
you.
definitely see you at the next networking in Hills,
March
which we hope,
8th.
yes,
Yes.
which we hope is here to stay.
Yes, it is.
All right, good people. See you next week for another one just like this one.